Hey, how's it going everyone? It's me, it's Count, and welcome to another Pokemon GO deep dive video. Today, we are going to be taking a close look at the one Pokemon that is useful in all three of the primary leagues in the Go Battle League. This Pokemon is, of course, Swampert. I'm going to be going over everything you need to know regarding this Pokemon and explain why you will want a bunch of them for PvP. Alright, so with that said, let's roll the intro and get right into it. There are very few Pokemon in Pokemon GO that could be considered meta in all three of the leagues within the Go Battle League. You may consistently come across Pokemon like Walrein, Registeel, and Snorlax across multiple leagues, but most of these fall off once you get into the Ultra League or Master League. But there is one Pokemon that has a top tier status in all three of these leagues, and it is Swampert. If you look at the rankings page on pvpoke.com for all three leagues of the Go Battle League, you will find Swampert consistently among the highest ranked Pokemon. In fact, Swampert is in the top 5 meta Pokemon in both the Great League and Ultra League, coming in at number 3 and 4 respectively, while still holding a fairly high spot in the Master League Classic, coming in at rank 18. So why is this? What makes Swampert so good for every league of the Go Battle League? Simply put, this water and ground type Pokemon is just built for battling with its well-rounded base stats, an extremely powerful set of moves, and its ability to counter much of the top Pokemon within each of these leagues. There's no other Pokemon that hits this many qualities. Now, Swampert is not by any means a perfect Pokemon. It does have one glaring weakness. One of the best ways to hard counter Swampert without negatively affecting your team is to have a pocket grass type like Venusaur, Victreebel, Roserade, Abomasnow, Lurantis, Menageum, Serperior, Ferrothorn, Tropius, Shiftry, you get the idea. If your Swampert gets caught out by a grass type on a switch, you are pretty much going to immediately lose that matchup even with good shielding and health. The primary reason for this is because Swampert has a double weakness to grass type attacks, and it lacks a lot of type coverage within its own move pool. But considering that Swampert has so many key resistances, it could be a dominating force against most of the top meta Pokemon you will often see in the Great League and Ultra League. Galarian Stunfisk, Registeel, and Talonflame are all extremely vulnerable to Swampert. Without question, Swampert holds a ton of value in these leagues because of how much of a threat it is against some of the most powerful Pokemon. Next, let's get into Swampert's stats and moves, because I really think these are the reasons why this Pokemon is so good. Swampert has a base attack stat of 208, a base defense stat of 175, and a stamina stat of 225. Now, these are pretty well rounded. Swampert isn't a glass cannon, but it has a decently high attack. It isn't a tank, but it has defense and stamina stats that are pretty good. Because these stats are higher than the usual meta Pokemon, you don't need to level up Swampert that much in order for it to be viable in the Great League and Ultra League, and when it comes to the Master League, the stats are high enough where Swampert won't fall off. Now real quick, let's talk about the most ideal IVs for each of the different leagues. For the Great League, you will want a Swampert with 0 attack, 14 defense, and 14 health as its IVs, and you will only have to level it up to level 19. This will get you a Swampert that is rank 1 for the Great League. Now in terms of the Ultra League, you will want a Swampert with 0 attack, 14 defense, and 13 health as its IVs. Level it up to level 33.5, and it will be at 2499 CP, which is right below the limit. Overall, Swampert is absolutely stellar when it comes to these two leagues, and it is fairly decent in the Master League as well. Although, I will say its potential in the Master League will be incredible once its Mega Evolution gets released and is eligible for this league. Until then, it will be a good pick to use in the Master League Classic, as it does fall off quite a bit when it comes to maxed out XL Pokemon, so do keep that in mind. Okay, finally, let's talk about Swampert's move pool, because I really think this is the bread and butter for why this Pokemon is so good for PvP. In terms of its fast attacks, Swampert can learn either Mud Shot and Water Gun. Both of these attacks deal the same amount of damage per second, but the clear winner between them is going to be Mud Shot. Not only does it benefit from stab, but it generates an insane amount of energy, much higher than water gun, even though they both deal the same amount of damage. Next up, let's talk about Swampert's plethora of charge attacks. It can come with Hydro Cannon, Earthquake, Sludge Bomb, Muddy Water, and Surf. Hydro Cannon is, of course, Swampert's Community Day exclusive move, so you will only be able to get it by using an Elite Charge TM or during special events that allow it. But since it is part of what makes this Pokemon so devastating in PvP, it is definitely worth using that Elite Charge TM. The ideal move setup for PvP is going to be Mudshot as the fast attack and Hydro Cannon and Earthquake as the charge attacks. You could swap out Earthquake for Sludge Bomb if you need more type coverage, but Earthquake is a one-shot nuke that does benefit from stab. So the reason why this moveset is so good is because it allows Swampert to spam its moves at a very high rate. The combination of Mudshot and Hydro Cannon is absolutely insane, as Hydro Cannon is a high damage charge attack while Mudshot is an extremely high energy generator. You'll be able to let loose so many charge attacks in a short period of time, or be able to max out on energy for those earthquakes. This Pokemon could drain out your opponent's shields early, or simply outpace them in terms of damage. There's really no other Pokemon that have this kind of an overpowered move combination. The only other one I could think of is either Alolan Raichu or Whiscash, but both of these Pokemon deal a fraction of the amount of damage Swampert can deal, and they don't have as well-rounded of stats. Thus, I would say Swampert is the absolute powerhouse you need on your Go Battle League teams. The versatility between leagues for this Pokemon cannot be understated as well. If your Great League team is set, but your Ultra League team is lacking, you can just simply power up this Pokemon a bit more, and now you have a top meta one to use. Ideally, you would have multiple of this Pokemon for each of the 3 primary leagues in the Go Battle League, but make sure you protect it with some great type coverage, especially against those grass types. If you are planning to use Swampert, then I highly suggest you bring a flying type or a fire type alongside it in order to counter any grass types. Like, for example, I would typically pair it with a Pokemon like Talonflame, especially in the Ultra League, where Venusaurs are much more common. You could also pair it with a flying type or ice type as well. Regardless, you will just want to be sure this Pokemon is covered and you should be good to go. But in any case, yeah, there you have it. This was my deep dive on the powerful Pokemon Swampert. But let me know your thoughts regarding this Pokemon down below. Are you using Swampert in any of your Go Battle League teams? If so, how much success is it bringing you? Let me know down below and let's have a great discussion. And if you ended up enjoying this video and found it to be helpful, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if it's your first time here. And don't forget that little bell so you stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. And I want to give a quick shout out to my patrons on Patreon. You make this channel content possible. If you want to support my channel in any way, big or small, then be sure to check out the links in the description below. But yeah, that's going to be it. I'm Count Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself, and I will catch you all later.